What's up, YouTube? You're watching Steel City MotoVlogs. I'm Derrick T, your host. It's a Tuesday morning, late morning, afternoon, June 28th. And it's probably about 75 degrees or so outside. Beautiful day to be out. And I am on my way to work, on my way to see a client, but it's a pretty nice little hike. I got about 34 miles to go. It's a straight shot out the road that I'm on, and eventually it's going to turn from stop and go into a little bit more of a free-flowing situation. But I just got to kind of get through this first, all the stop and go. This is actually the first time that I've gotten on the bike and actually shot a motovlog in probably about a week and a half now, believe it or not. Probably in about a week, maybe about a week and a half. It feels like a week and a half, but probably since like last maybe Sunday or Monday. Today is Tuesday, so yeah, I guess it has been roughly about a week and a half. Let me tell you what's happened in that time span, though. In that time span, I had been, well, prior to that, you know, just out riding every day, either be it commuting to and from work or recreational or whatever. But anytime that I just get on the bike, you know, I make sure I have at least one of my cameras rolling at all times. And so I had all this footage, still do. I have, you know, just gigabytes and gigabytes worth of, I'm talking about probably 250, 300 gigabytes worth of video footage. Not all of it is me talking on the bike. Some of it is just empty space and me just riding without saying anything, because you run out of things to say. So those videos will turn more into voiceover material. When I get certain topics, I'll go back and voice a lot of that stuff over. But as I started organizing all of those clips and all of those files in my video editor, I realized that I have probably about 6 or 7 videos that are all in post right now. They need to be edited. Some of them, I actually just got done with one last night, but I probably have 6 or 7 more videos that need to be edited. And I had pretty much worked myself into a routine of editing videos on certain days and doing certain things, but then I made this mistake. I made this one very critical mistake, and that is I went on vacation. I took my kids on vacation last week from Tuesday until Saturday, and I was completely off of my routine, and I decided not to record anything. I decided not to bring any cameras with me. I decided not to shoot any motovlogs of any kind. I just decided to be a dad and live in the moment, and you know, me and my kids, and we had a great time, you know, and I just didn't record anything. So now that I'm back home and kind of back into the swing of my routines, I sat down to start editing videos, and I think I overwhelmed myself. I started looking at everything that all the material that I've compiled over the last maybe month or so, and literally just got overwhelmed. I just turned the computer off and went and laid down, because I do my video editing late at night. Usually around 11 or 12 o'clock is when I start doing my video editing. So yeah, I just decided to call it a night and go to bed. But here I am out here shooting more footage And Lord knows when you'll actually see this one. It's June 28th. It might be September before you actually get a chance to see what I did with this one, because my production schedule is about maybe 11 or 12 weeks out right now, which means I put out a video every Monday, and I have them scheduled, I think, through something like August 29th or something like that. So it could be well into September before you're actually watching this video. But yeah, I've got to get back on the ball. I've got to get back onto my editing habits here. But yeah, I have so much of it. But I guess just one folder at a time. Every folder has a different date on it, and so, you know, there's probably about 9 or 10 folders, and in every folder there's probably 2 or 3 videos worth of material. And so you're talking about, you know, 2 or 3 times 9, it's anywhere between 18 and 27 videos that I can produce out of, you know, what I have. And that's actually not including what today's footage brings me. I guess it's a good problem to have, especially when you live where I live, and eventually you get to a point where there's no riding to be done. I'll still be able to produce content and have content being released. I do enjoy the process, though. And I think where I'm at with it, I think I'm going to just not really, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd love to, you know, have the channel sponsored by, you know, one or more people or companies eventually one day. But as far as doing it via YouTube, you know, through the Google AdSense program and everything else, I don't think I'm going to continue stressing myself out about views and watch time and analytics and everything else. I think I'm just going to settle back into content creation just because I like to do it. At one point I did see it as a potential source of revenue sometime in the future, and if that happens, that's great. But I wouldn't put my hopes and dreams into it the way I once did. I think I'm gonna get away from that. You know, I just don't want to live at the mercy of YouTube's algorithm or whatever. So if it happens, it happens. You know, and if it doesn't, I'll find other ways to make my channel do what I want it to do. Speaking of going on vacation and kind of getting out of the swing of things, I was on the phone with a friend, and we were talking about motovlogging. As a matter of fact, I was on the phone with Rich from Boots and Jeans Riders, and I was talking about how I had gone out one day, got on the bike and went out riding, and I didn't take any cameras with me at all. I just went out for the ride, lived in the moment, not worried about shooting a motovlog or anything else like that. And I actually started feeling guilty. I started feeling guilty because I wasn't recording anything, and I wasn't going to be able to come home and put it in the editor and make a video out of it and everything else. I think that would almost qualify you as being addicted. Like, I felt like there was a job that I should have been doing that I wasn't doing. And I thought that was just the craziest thing. Let me tell you, I learned one day that I was out, and because I wasn't recording anything, I didn't wear this helmet, my Motovlog helmet. I didn't wear it. I wore a half helmet that day. Let me tell you the value of wearing a full face helmet that I didn't take into consideration before I left the house that day. I put on that half helmet and I got out and I was riding on a road like this, and you all see my hair flying all over the place. It was hitting me in the face and everything else. Oh man, my face took a beating that day. I said, there's the value of a full face helmet right there, because I can see it, but as long as it's not hitting me in the face, I don't really care. One of those little things that you don't even think about until you're actually out doing it. But what do you all think? Do you feel obligated to record every time you go out and ride, or do you actually take breaks from the GoPro life, put the camera down and just live in the moment sometimes? Let's have a conversation. I feel like if I don't record for anything else, you know, record for insurance purposes in case I ever have an accident or something like that, and I need to be able to show what actually happened. Because cameras don't lie, people lie, but the camera does not lie. I'm glad the stop and go has kind of broken up and I can just ride. Just as I say that, one thing that I do know that's out this way is a KOA campground. I'm headed towards Uniontown, Pennsylvania. It's about an hour north of Pittsburgh. And I know that there's a KOA campground out here. How cool would it be if I could find it and take a look at that? I think after my appointment I'll GPS it and see if I'm near it. Uniontown can only be so big. I mean, it's Uniontown. And then there's also out this way, Uniontown, Ohio Powell State Park is actually out this way too. You'd have to go a little bit farther than where I'm going to get there. You know something? That might not be a bad idea. I don't know. Might just take the ride just to take the ride. You all know something I thought about the other day that I said I was going to share, and I don't know if I ever shared this on a video recent or more distant or what. I'm not sure. I've done a lot of videos about the different things that I've done to my bike. You know, I ride on the dark side tire, I have the upgraded stereo and lights, and I've done a lot of things. I have my carbs cleaned and rebuilt. Done a lot of different things to the bike since I've had it, and this is now 2 years that I've had it. 2 years and roughly about maybe 30,000 miles that I've put on the bike since I've had it. And the one thing I don't think I've ever shared with y'all is the fork brace. My fork brace up front. I remember maybe about a year and a half or so ago, I was out and I was riding with some people, and I remember I was doing some low speed stuff and I felt the bike shudder a little bit. It was in the front. It was in the front end. And then I felt it again. Like, I remember being out with a couple of people, and we had jumped on the highway, and I kind of did a quick acceleration, and I felt that same shudder in the front end. Again, had no idea what it was about. Scared the living daylights out of me. Because the second time it happened, I was going considerably faster than I was the first time it happened. And so I had a friend of mine who I went and took it to and works on bikes. You know, I told him about it. He checked out my front end. He said, your seals are good and everything else. Have you considered putting a fork brace on? A super brace? And I said, no, I never heard of it. At that point, I had never heard of one. And so, you know, he told me what it was. I went on eBay, bought one. This one right here on your screen. And let me tell you, I put that super brace on about 1.5 years ago, and I haven't felt that shudder in my front end since. You know, it's just one of those things that, because it's so out of sight, out of mind, I don't think I ever bothered to comment on it, you know, or do any kind of a review. But let me tell you, I've done a lot of riding and put a lot of miles on since adding that super brace, and like I said, no issues at all. I've never felt that shudder that scared the living daylights out of me. I have never felt that again. So if you don't have a super brace, and I guess it doesn't matter if you have a Goldwing or not, I think they make them for any kind of bike, but I would strongly recommend you get one, add one, and everything else, because it definitely smoothed out the ride. Speaking of that vacation I went on, I went up to the Pocono Mountains. From here, from Pittsburgh, it's about a 4.5 hour drive, and we went to the Kalahari Resort up there. It's an indoor resort and water park, and took my kids up there. Kids had a ball. I had a ball. And like I said, I decided not to be a motovlogger that weekend. I just decided to be a dad. And we had a great time. I didn't do any recording, and we drove the car, obviously. I have 2 children, so didn't ride the bike either. But this is all the footage that I have from that trip. I'll show it to you right here.